Metamorphosis, word, sound and power, music, drumming, current affairs, everything to grow and lift up your mind. Metamorphosis.
No more youths and youths for sale. We get wise and don't decide to change their style. Bobby wrong, keep your empty promises and your crooked smile. Metamorphosis, come with your thoughts, change your way of thinking. Metamorphosis, the change begins with you.
Black men of Ethiopia, Timbuktu, Alexandria gave the light of civilization to this world. Ethiopia shall stretch forth our hands unto God, and princes shall come out to be.
Guide I, it's the voice that sets me free. Guide I.
Good evening, Iman Blak.
Good evening.
This is Pauline from St. Mary. Calling to big you up on your program. I am a disciple. I've been there since almost the inception.
Guide I. It's the voice that sets me free.
I just you me tune into because, me always even watch someone that tell life is and stuff, and that I have to see for later. I have to really listen to you first, you know what I mean?
How ma one God you get one ma chikum bakhna Africa da fa bakhna kida fanya kida farafet one ma chiki bunjul kida fa bunjul one yande kesawa kida fa bunjul one ma chiki bunjul kida fa bunjul dafnen rafet yom wentamenda ingama dafnen rafet yom wentamenda ingara dafnen rafet yom wentamenda ingara did you know that's a richer Africa did you know that's a richer Africa did you know said the whole world love it did you know said the whole world love it be proud of your culture be proud of that what you got be proud.
Why do preachers have to shout and scream? Why do preachers have to shout and scream in conveying the message? Why do preachers have to be screaming and shouting at the top of their lungs? Why?
Fire operates, burn down Babylon and all them crooked ways and racial discrimination, discommunication, brutalization. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Rastafari, sit upon his throne. Away from Africa, with the intention to steal our culture. The good Father passed by and said, humble yourself, my children. Humble yourself, my little one. Humble yourself. Oh, my brother,
have to be living under a rock in an icy cold place to not know that the world's greatest sporting event is taking place. You would have to be living in a cave covered by ice not to know. And you have to be an icy person not to have any feelings about this great spectacle that is unfolding. Metamorphosis, Dr. Iman Blak. Day 5, World Cup 2018, Russia. There is some serious noise pollution in I&I communities. Someone call and tell me, why do the pastors have to scream and shout every night? The same message. Why scream and shout? Someone help me. 4531444. Need some help. Noise pollution in I&I community. When I call the cops, they have tolerance. When the DJ plays and they call the cops, dance shut down. How come these pastors can scream and shout in our communities? Asking. Still in Aquaba, ALI. Give thanks for another time for connection, another time to engage in thought processes, a time to think, a time to reflect. All of these activities we engage in without fear. And I must quote the coach of the Mexican team. The Mexican team at this World Cup has created the biggest upset to date. They have thrown down the defending champions, the Germans. And the coach in the interview after quietly remarked, and he's speaking on behalf of himself and his entire team, and say, we have no fear. We have no fear to play. We play without fear to lose. The Mexican coach. We play without the fear to lose. He said, we cannot play with fear to lose. More accurately, the coach says, we cannot play with fear to lose. And this could be applied not just to the game, but to life and challenges that we face every day. We cannot play with the fear to lose. I want to reflect on that philosophy, because the Mexicans, as a national team and as a psychological mechanism to go forward, have adopted this idea. We cannot play with fear to lose. African people cannot struggle for liberation with fear. So it's an important lesson, I think, and there's more to learn. This program is really unable to continue in its regular formatting because conditions of the world are not regular. We are now undergoing a series of games and competition that has captured most of the world's imagination. And what is being reflected here goes beyond play. Yes, these men, grown men, are playing football. They are at play. So sometimes we have to spend a little time examining what exactly is the psychology and the philosophy behind play. Because this is a fundamental activity that you see taking place right now in Russia. Men are playing. And they're playing a game that is recognized as the most widely played game in the world and the world's most popular game. Now, and I can abstract a lot of things from this tournament without being footballers or without even being lovers of the game. Because what we have in here now is an international gathering. It's a world war scenario. And the teams are involved in intense play. The play opens the door for exploration into what we're going to call the culture of play. The culture of play. And how is it that different nations approach play based upon their concept of culture? And it's going to become more and more evident as this tournament continues. There's something in it for everyone together. Man, woman, boy, girl, the aged, the young. The clothing, the dressing, the physicality of the players should be attractive to a lot of the females. The celebration, the rituals. It's a whole heap of things taking place. And it happens every 4 years. Well, of course, I always try to make the item know that beyond entertainment and the physical activity, there are psychological, social, economical, and political activities that are in the background to the things that we see on the play field. And the play field and the sports now becomes a site for commercial activity. So sports now is at this moment at its highest point in terms of revenue building and revenue creation. It's into the money-making side now. No, I want to say something about this World Cup a little bit now. We are in the year 2018. And because they have the drawings and the things in advance, I wanted to talk a little bit about 2026. 2026 is when the North American continent will be the host of the World Cup. North America meaning the United States, Mexico, and Canada. These three countries have collectively won the bid, and so the World Cup in 2026 will be on the doors of the Caribbean people. The last time we had an experience like that was in 1994, when America got their first chance to host the World Cup. And it brought a different consciousness to the Jamaican public, even to the Federation, that it was at the end of that tournament that the Jamaica Football Federation took the serious decision to change the president, bring in Borrell, and Borrell made a bold decision to develop a Road to France campaign. And that campaign led Jamaica to the World Cup in 1998. Now we're looking at 2026. Is it possible for Jamaica to be on that stage in 2026? And how would an island of this nature return to the World Cup stage in 2026? Things will have changed significantly, because the 2026 World Cup will have had 48 teams. It will have been expanded by 12 teams. It would mean that the three regional powers that are now, who will be the hosts, they will be automatically qualified for that tournament. USA, Mexico, and Canada. It would leave 3 spaces open for the rest of the CONCACAF region. So between Central America and the Caribbean, 3 spaces will be open, and Jamaica will be challenging for one of those 3 spaces. It just so happens that at this moment, Costa Rica is there. Costa Rica made their introduction to the World Cup this time, and they were unfortunate. Ended up on a losing end in their first match. The real pride of the region now rests with Mexico. And Mexico has done what no one expected. And it's also an eye-opener for Jamaica. Because Jamaicans have always been thinking that to improve the football, they have to go to North America first or Europe first. But I'm saying that Mexico is demonstrating that they have now reached the level that maybe Jamaican players should begin to try to get into the Mexican League. It's much closer. Just a suggestion. But the political aspects of 2026 now remain outstanding. Because if America was to maintain the Trumpian attitude in 2026, it means there will be a problem for the Muslim teams. FIFA would have a problem. World football would have a problem. And that would be all because of the whole politics that is governing the United States. So we could just do some mathematics and see if it is possible for Trump to still be in office in 2026. Because if he's still in office, the World Cup will have a problem. It's going to have a problem. So hopefully now we can avoid that, and the world will run in an organized way. But the politics of football cannot be separated from the football itself. They are inseparable. And that future of 2026 will force our leaders to make some decisions as to how to get our football at that stage. Because those of you who are watching the World Cup now realize that is a big man thing. There is no little boys here. These are grown professional men. And so to get there, you can't have an amateur program. Because these are the best professionals in the world. So when we speak about the culture of play, we have to speak about whether the society is motivated towards recreational play or competitive professional play. So the 2 types of play we can work towards is amateur play or professional play. And the Caribbean countries and most of the colonized countries have developed as amateur countries in sports. It is the European countries who have professionalized sports. From the giddy up, from the days of horse racing in the 12th century in England. Professional sports developed in Britain. Professional sport is a part of the European industrial development. So sports in Europe is an industry. So how does an island know that is not an industrial-based country? An island that is drowning in borrowing. An island that is still driven by colonial policies and ideas. How will such a place get to that stage? Is it that we're just pipe dreaming? Because there is a reality to get into the World Cup. And the nations that are there have gone through a step-by-step process to get to the World Cup. Jamaica got to the World Cup in a 4-year span, 1994 to 1998. All our resources were built into just building a national team. One team. That suggests to you that whenever that one team expire or got old, the Jamaican football will collapse. There is never a program set out to build a World Cup program from the foundation, which is the under-23. So unless our leaders begin to focus on organizing under-23 programs within the football and build at that level to the Olympics, getting to the World Cup is a dream. It will never be a vision anymore. It will never be realized. Because if you really look at the TV now, the European teams are dominant. And the dominance comes from the fact that the highest level of football is played on the continent of Europe. And that is reflected now in the leagues. The Spanish league, the German league, the English league, the French league, the Belgium league. Those are the highest leagues in the world at the moment. And the best players from the 6 confederations or the 6 continents, they all gravitate towards Europe. So when the Belgium side run out today, and you saw Lukaku, and you saw De Bruyne, you saw players in the English Premier League, they oppose each other in the Premier League, but they are professionals. So when they come together at the national level, there's a high quality of performance. Is Jamaica realistic in talking about the World Cup? Are we realistic in that type of speech? Well, we're going to just leave that question to a little bit of time, because the focus really now is on the present and what is really happening. And this World Cup here now is really becoming exciting, it's becoming revealing. And then I want to just speak to know the extent to which the African players have become very prominent at the World Cup. The black players. When I say African players, I don't mean the players from the teams from the continent. I'm talking about the black players. How did the World Cup get so black?
Planning a party, club night out, stage show, a gospel concert, or even a business sales event? Let StylzFM be a part of your promoting tool. Take advantage of our low-price promotion packages with commercials, interviews, giveaways, reviews, and much more. We have special offers when you mix and match and bundle your options. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. StylzFM for the most effective way to exploit your marketing dollar.
Great news, everyone! DIB Block Factory and Hardware Supplies located at 44 William Street, Port Antonio. Now open every Sunday from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. Stop in and beat the Monday crowd. Get the same great service on a more convenient day. Doing some work on a Sunday, run out of material? No need to worry. DIB Hardware will be there to serve you. Still the #1 supplier in Portland of building materials, hardware supplies, kitchen and bathroom finishes. DIB Hardware Port Antonio, now open this and every Sunday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 44 William Street, Port Antonio. See you there.
Are you sick of living an average life and tired of just getting by? Do you want to take your life to the next level? Learn the secrets of the super successful. Listen to Power in a Half Hour with Coach Mark this and every Wednesday night on StylzFM from 9 to 10 p.m. Learn the habits of the super successful and how to make these habits work for you. Learn to turn your dreams and desires into reality. You can win in the game of life. Let Coach Mark show you how. Every Wednesday night on StylzFM from 9 to 10 p.m.
Clifford Guest House, sponsor of Metamorphosis on Monday nights from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight with Dr. Iman Blak. Located at 15 Queen Street, Port Antonio, that's Ditchfield Hill. They offer accommodations for up to 1 month. Call them at 285-0610 for more information.
There's a mighty struggle going on now. The struggle is over the right to define and declare who is the most powerful within the realm of the world of FIFA. FIFA's world is being contested now. Yes, FIFA's world. And I was reasoning with my brother in Prestige, you know, before him leave and him came pick up what him thought he had lost and so on and so forth. And I said to him now that this concept of a world that we're living in, how many people think that is one world we live in? And for those who want to say yes, the question therefore was advanced that is it also true that we live on one planet? And if we live on one planet, we should be living in one world. But in the reality of the planet, there are several worlds. On this planet, on this one planet, there are several worlds. And we have to come to that grip. It's because one of the world on this planet is FIFA. FIFA world. And you can't go on like it don't exist, you know. Because it has captured, you know, the entire, not really know what I mean by entire, a vast percentage of the world's attention is now been grabbed by FIFA's world. There is a military world that exists. And that military world has its own laws and rules and punishment and systems and so forth of judgment and so on. The religious people will tell you that there is a Christian world. Yeah, and the Muslim will tell you that there is an Islamic world. So all of these worlds now are on this one planet. And people are fighting to prove them strength and power within all of these worlds. And I have to go a little further to say that there is even the animal world. There's the world of the insects. So when worlds come to an end, it doesn't mean the planet end. It means those particular life forms or systems of operation will come to an end. So nobody must trick you about the world will come to an end. So you must confess your sins and seek salvation because the world will end. The Christian world will end, Islamic world will go on, and FIFA world goes on. When the Christian world was frightening the people about 2000, FIFA world was planning the next World Cup, which was 2002. And they had planned that World Cup from 1994. The hosts knew who they were in 2002. Yet the world was going to have an intervention in 2000. So I could use this experience of FIFA's world to realize that the planet is one. But there are institutions and principalities that organize themselves as worlds. So in the FIFA world now is a small group of men run it. Small group of men, the executive body, and these men are elected. So it's a political organization. It's a government. And under this government now, nations gather to play. And the play now has reached a level wherein it is a world struggle for supremacy in this world of FIFA. Now, the confederations, how FIFA divide up the world into these confeds, these confederations are recognized as continents. We have to try to find and organize and outline how did black people in general get involved in FIFA's world. How did I and I get caught up in FIFA's world? And what is the role that black people play generally in FIFA's world? We know what the Christian world have enough black people doing. We know what has happened to much of the life in the black people in the world of the military. How black people are treated and handled and so forth. Well, how is it in FIFA's world? So we look into how FIFA set up itself. And FIFA came into existence in 1904. And remember, no, slavery was supposed to be abolished in the 1860s, as far as the 60s in the United States, in the 30s in the Caribbean. So between the 1830s and the 60s, those white powers, European forces, decided to unshackle black people because the means of production had changed. And they began to speak about developing some form of morality. And black people began to learn to read and began to question the book that they gave us to believe in. And began to ask questions that how, for example, how can a slave and a master worship the same God? So we have to see where we're coming from and how is it we enter this world called FIFA. And I tell you, FIFA stand alone because national governments can't interfere with FIFA business. So they have their own politics, their own economics. When the world is undergoing currency decline, nothing wrong in FIFA world. There's no bank shortage of money in the world of FIFA. There's no financial crisis in FIFA. Money just seems to just flow endlessly. So we realize now that when FIFA was formed in 1904, football was being played before, primarily in Europe. But football is played in China, Football is played in parts of Africa under different names. But it's the Europeans now who bring it to the level where it's organized on a specific dimension and shape, feel. And they began now to put laws to govern how the game should be played. So these things are going on. And it is the Europeans who are the prime agents of this thing. So a FIDEM creation in terms of organization, modern football, is a European thing. So the British are given much credit for that. And the football drift out of Britain into Europe, where the Spanish begin to play the game, and begin to put their cultural twist on the game. The French did it, the Germans, the Italians. So the entire Europe began to get engaged, the Hungarians, the Russians. All of them began to play this beautiful game, but playing it from a perspective of culture. They would put their cultural feelings and behaviors and attitudes into how they play. So it's a European thing. But because of the colonialisms and the exploitation of these men when they travel out, them travel with them game. So them travel into South America. And the game caught on quickly in the later part of the 1800s in places like Brazil, Uruguay, Argentina. So we have to realize now, say, it's through the movement of the colonists that the games travel with him. And the games go everywhere the colonists go because it's part of him culture. So him travel with cricket, him travel with him football, travel with him golf, whatever it is. And that Africans now, black people now, begin to get familiar with these games. So the first World Cup in 1930, played in Uruguay. I don't know if you can count on one hand if there are any black players representing any of those nations. But the Uruguayans would have a great striker. And those who want to do a little research, this is a big black striker. Them says him invent the bicycle kick. And we have to realize now that the Africans who were caught up in the enslavement in that transatlantic European slave trade in enslaved Africans. The greatest portion of blacks were brought out of Africa, landed in Brazil. So the Brazilian culture is heavily built upon African retentions and African feelings and vibrations. And so the music of the Brazilians is reflected through the African samba vibration, and the football now as culture. Samba becomes another way of expressing itself through the football. So Brazilian football is known as samba football. And the samba is an African retention. It's also instructive to note that racism is very high in Brazil. Yeah, racism is deep. To the point where there's a time, you know, when, I don't know if it still could be made the same point today, but there's a time when the Brazilian them would have struggled without the black players in the team. And there are those who think that is when the black man them playing the Brazilian team, the Brazilian side have a chance of winning. The black man them, because within the Brazilian racial organization, you have a whole heap of caste system, structures set up by mixtures of Indians and Brazilians and mixtures of Europeans and Africans and one group called the mestizos. So some have a whole heap of racial shadings, but the black is at the very bottom. So Pele had to fight him away from the very bottom, the black players, to come to the top of Brazilian football. And in this present team, I don't say much. Yeah, in this present squad, I don't see plenty. So I don't know how far it's going to go based upon that type of analysis. So it's through them ways now, black man became a part of this FIFA football, primarily through the South American countries. Because there's no European country in the 30s, 40s, and 50s that had any black players. Not even the leagues would support black players because of the level of racism in those places. So how did those European leagues suddenly get so black? How all of a sudden teams that had men who were lily white and pink, now we're seeing some black man blacker than me show up in our Belgium side. What happened? We'd explore. Metamorphosis. Yeah, Metamorphosis continues. Yes, Grisha, thanks for the comment on your WhatsApp in St. Thomas. Yeah, it's a topic that you think it's a good one, so we're going to run with it. Yeah, we're looking at this spectacle that is in front of us called FIFA World Cup. And you know, a lot of persons may not have knowledge of the history and the politics and the economics and the psychology, and you don't have to have that to love football. But it could be useful to have some information that goes beyond the play field. What happens beyond the goalposts. And it's not, it shouldn't be painful for you to really come to grips with what's happening, and then maybe you begin to watch the game with a different eye. So this World Cup thing that we're watching now, we're seeing it now in 2018. Jamaica's closest looked at the World Cup was our one appearance, 1998. And because we're in 2018 now, we're looking at exactly 20 years ago. 2 decades ago, Jamaica had that experience of being at the World Cup stage, on the stage, being ranked among the top 32 nations. At a time when you talk about national pride and flag waving and done and bun out PNP and JLP, at then time the politicians them lose them way, you know. Because what World Cup qualification is really, it is a recipe for national unity. That's a phrase and a quote out of my thesis. That World Cup qualification is a recipe for national unity. And the experience was here 20 years ago. Unprecedented national unity. And the politicians them so far have made sure that we don't come close to that again. And we have 20 years of evidence that the politicians and the leaders have done nothing to repeat that sense of national unity that covered the country in 1998. Where through football and the wisdom of a Brazilian named Simões, who came and saw the tribalism in the politics, domestic politics, raised the level of international standard of the football by forcing the politicians to bow to his higher standards. Well, they wouldn't bow then, and forced them to lift up them head. And he was unwilling to join the party shop behavior because his vision was not about orange or green. Simões' vision was about the black, green, and gold. Simões never have known not about orange and green. It had no sense to him. But you have some other little men and people now who are bleeders, pretending to be leaders, who are telling the people that orange is more important than the black, green, and the gold. And that the green more important than the black, green, and gold. So we can't come to that unity again that we have experience of through football. And we can't get there through the type of tribalism and religious indoctrination that split up the plantation. And the split up in the plantation is not political, because the political is not merely political. Because the political is just a two-way, you know. It's a either or either. But you see the religious, these are the things that chop up fine now, you know. Yeah, it's like it start chop up fine. Little corners now. And some little men now, and some little leaders who bleeding the people them out and confusing the women who lack leadership because not for the real man them run away. So the football is a way to look at the society. It provides a lens through which you can look at leadership, look at national psyche, look at the concept of race and power. All these things manifest themselves through sports. So to the World Cup again. So 1930 World Cup, we can't see a black man. 34, it gone to Europe, we don't see a black man. But the World War fight and the European World War fight and them stop the World Cup because FIFA is a European thing. Them stop the war, them stop the World Cup because war fighting. And when them done war, them decide say, all right, no more military war, make a war upon the play field now. We could save the bombs and the ammunition and we could put it into an organized way. Because even a game like chess is a war game. It's a way to war, but in a sophisticated way where no blood no run. But in the mental world through tactics, king are dead and queen are rob and, you know, knight or slay knight is war. So the Europeans are war people, you know. It's a war culture. And they have to have ways of expressing them warlike self. So sports is an important medium, especially, you know, for industrialized societies. And not just recreational sports, professional sports. And that is becoming a major difference between the teams them who are showing up at the World Cup. The teams that are coming out of Europe versus the teams that are coming out of CONCACAF, Oceania, and the Asian Confederation. We see a difference where a game can be won in the final 2 seconds in a football match. It's the attitude that the professionals in the NBA have, where they can play and the clock can stop with 1.5 seconds to go and they can complete a play in that. It's high level, scientific, technical professionalism. And the European leagues run along that line. So the World Cup and the national teams will come with that attitude. So again, we're sorry for all black man suddenly get enough. Because I mean, I tell you, look upon the tournament, look upon some of the countries them who one time pure blonde hair man used to play feet. You see some black man run out now. You look in Saudi Arabia and those places, you see black man in abundance. And then you say, I really remember now the Arab slave trade. The Arabs now enslaved thousands and hundreds of thousands of African black people before the Europeans got there. Castrate thousands of black men and take them into Arab cultures. And you see the power now of identity, where you see racial identity as separate from national identity. Because them man they have to look upon, when you look upon Lukaku, nothing about him is Belgian. The Belgians raped the Congo. The Belgians committed genocide in the Congo. Now they not only take out the minerals out of the earth, they now take out the players as well. It's a whole heap of things have not changed, you know. Yet they have appeared to be different. So the black man now, up to 1950, the only time invisible in the World Cup is because of the South American nations. And the attitude to the World Cup was that South Americans could only win the World Cup when it was played in South America, and Europeans could only win when it was played in Europe. That was the original construct around the World Cup. The first team to mash up that was the Brazilians. Because the Brazilians, under the influence of the young Pelé, destroyed that myth by winning the World Cup in Sweden. So them come with a different argument now. Can you remember now, you know, it's all about white domination. It's all about white domination. And this arena is sports. So the Brazilians come to the world, and not only did they bring some black players, they brought the championship to South America. And black men around the world now, black men in the Caribbean, black men in Africa, black men in Asia, black men around the world now start realize that, look, we have a hero in this thing, you know. We have a little 16-year-old who is a genius at the white man game. And Brazil now symbolize black man in his organized way. Because remember now, you know, black man is supposed to can organize and do nothing, you know. If you look how them deal with cricket, them say we can't play, one time we couldn't bat, all we could do is bowl. And then when we learn to bat, them say we can't lead, we can't be captain, and then we turn captain, and then them say this, and every time them change the rules as a black man advance in mastering whatever the situations are. So the Brazilians have helped the psyche of black people globally from the 1950s through football and through their exploits at the World Cup. When they started the World Cup in 1930, them developed a trophy for the winner. It was called the Jules Rimet Trophy. Jules Rimet was a Frenchman, and the French were really the real organizers of FIFA. It's them really organized FIFA. Now the Englishman them refused to join FIFA when FIFA just formed, Yeah, because them feel like it's them boss the game. But the French are different kind of people, as we know, culturally. So the Jules Rimet Trophy is what them established. And between 1958 and 1962 and 1970, the Brazilians win those 3 World Cups. And so the Brazilians retire the Jules Rimet Trophy. You think that the Europeans would be able to hold on to what them create. Them invent the trophy, them invent the game, but the black nation capture it. So after those 3 World Cups, they had to produce a new trophy. So that new trophy now has been on display and has been under struggle from 1970. And in 1970 now, the greatest player retired. Greatest player, Edson Arantes do Nascimento, called Pelé, retired in 1970. And at the 1970 World Cup now, that World Cup was brought to Mexico. So this was the first time now the World Cup was moving beyond South America and Europe. And some serious ball play in Mexico. So Mexico is not a little dibby country now in World Cup, for those who don't know. They have vast experience getting to the World Cup, but it is in 2018 is the first time they have shown supreme confidence in the first match. Because supreme confidence can also lead to overconfidence. And one match doesn't bring you to the World Cup final. So the coach has a lot of psychological work to do with that team to keep the players' feet on the ground and to remind them that beating Germany is not winning the cup. And likewise, the German coach will let his players know that losing to Mexico is not losing the cup. The second match in the World Cup, this is where the struggle is. This is a real war. Because remember now, 2 out of 4 teams in each group will go home. Plane ticket waiting. Nobody don't want to go home yet. The war has just begun.
Clifford Guest House, sponsor of Metamorphosis on Monday nights from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight with Dr. Iman Blak. Located at 15 Queen Street, Port Antonio, that's Titchfield Hill. They offer accommodations for up to 1 month. Call them at 285-0610 for more information. Guess what? StylzFM has a new business number for you to call, text, and now WhatsApp. 518-2399. To advertise your business and events, call, text, or WhatsApp us on 518-2399. 518-2399. Don't forget, 518-2399.
It's Wow Factor Tuesdays with Chungy and Shelly. Every Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's entertainment and interaction at its best. With features like the Share to Care segment, the Uprising 10 Countdown, and the ever-controversial Love Break. Yes, it's the Wow Factor. Your Tuesday mornings will never be the same again.
Wow Factor Tuesdays is sponsored by Wholesale Photo Lab Studio and DocuCenter and Bobby's Cafe Bar and Grill.
Take us to work. Take us on the go. Take us wherever you go. StylzFM.
Take StylzFM with you on the go. The number for USA, 213-992-4360. That's 213-992-4360. And for the United Kingdom, 033-0010-3322. That's 033-0010-3322.
StylzFM.
Planning a party, club night out, stage show, a gospel concert, or even a business sales event? Let StylzFM be a part of your promoting tool. Take advantage of our low price promotion packages with commercials, interviews, giveaways, reviews, and much more. We have special offers when you mix and match and bundle your options. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. StylzFM for the most effective way to exploit your marketing dollar.
the descendants, the African people in this Western world, confuse different languages, confuse us all. But guess what happened? It's a football. Football is have a universal language to it. Yeah, football. Gets to a point where it matters not what country you come from, you know. There's a basic language called football. And whether you're in Russia, or whether you're in Afghanistan, or you're in South America, or in China, there are some basic principles that are applicable once you're talking about the game of football. So, man can play with man from China, and China man can play with a man from, and they don't speak a language in terms of words, but they understand the concept of the game. So when a man goes straight and them knows that the next movement is a square movement, and then them knows that the following movement is something diagonal, and them understand that one goes alone, then there is coverage. They understand the principles of triangles and squares and shapes and all the things that becomes the language of the game. If you don't really have that language, you really have a difficult time playing. Because you're playing, you know. So it's like not knowing music, and you say you take up a guitar and you don't know the language. You can't read music. You're going to play out of your own instincts. It takes you to a certain level. But when you begin to work upon the professionals now who are trained and are experienced at finding solutions, yeah, then you begin to have problems. So we're looking at how the African or the black man invade this game. How we look at nothing at the World Cup now. How black man become integral parts of these European teams. And how the teams coming from the black countries are so weak. What has happened? How come the sapping of energy? How come the draining of the brain and the draining of the talent? How it really work out? So we look again, we trace the history of the Cup, this World Cup. And we see that is really in the 1950s, through the Brazilians, that black man saw recognize his strength and his ability in this game. And prior to the 1950s, you know, black man's engagement in sports was primarily in the United States. Because the United States now, outside of Europe, is the center for let us say, professional sports. The United States developed baseball and basketball, and it was in the same 1900 and first decade of the 1900s, the same decade that FIFA formed, that Jack Johnson whole the world heavyweight championship as a black man. So it's over 100 years. It's 100 years ago that over 100 years. That's how long I in the world of sports as black people. But see, boxing is a one-on-one sport. So when you defeat the white man at one-on-one, them tell you say you just brute force to use on them and them come up with all kind of argument. But you see, a team game is a different thing, you know. Different levels of preparation and psychology and philosophy and a whole heap of things go into a team game. So when the Brazilians win the World Cup in 1958, it shocked the white world. They never think so black man them could have come together and be so organized at a high speed game and produce and execute in alien territory. It destroyed the mythology that white men try to maintain in sports. They try to use sports as an avenue to prove that they are superior. It is the results who determine superiority in sports. It's the results. It's not how you look. It's the results. And if the man who getting the results looking the same kind of way all the while, we have to begin to make the relationship. So black man saw link up with football in the 50s, seriously. Pele is a beacon. And I remember say the Europeans have their own white heroes, you know. When I was a youth, the greatest goalie was Yashin, the Russian goalkeeper. Everybody called themselves Yashin, the Black Panther. And then we know about Ferenc Puskás, the Hungarian. We know about Di Stefano from Spain. In the more modern 60s, we also heard about George Best. I mean, I said to them now, if the refereeing of today, the refereeing that gives that advantage to attacking play, that refereeing was similar to when these men used to play. The man that scored, Pele that scored 3,000 goals. Yeah, I must play maybe 4 or 5 World Cup if the brutality wasn't there. So these were great players. And within the pantheon of great white players, the black man them start surface. Not only did Pele make a mark as a youth at 16, there was a greater black player in terms of age and stature in Eusebio. And Eusebio is a man from Mozambique. He's one of the first Africans now that the Europeans them bring into the Europe to play in them club league. He played for the team called Benfica. And Eusebio was a star in Benfica. African striker. You look around the rest of the European leagues, you don't see no black player. At that time, we're talking about the 60s. So discrimination was so intense that you had to be a superstar as a black man to get a run in any of the European leagues. And that continued through the 70s. 1 and 2 black youth would have tried surface, but you wouldn't see them. But you see in 1974 now, a team from what them call Black Africa show up. Because before this team, you know, Egypt has always been at the World Cup. You know. Egypt was in the World Cup from 1930s. But because the Europeans them don't link Egypt as Africa, even black people don't think Egypt is Africa, even today. Them call Egypt Middle East. So that concept kind of takes it off of the continent. But it's a long time Egypt in the World Cup. From the 30s. So when you see Egypt in the World Cup today, I know today them involved in football at that level. But they've also produced the top player in the English Premier League, in Mo Salah. So the Africans are making themselves very visible in the European leagues now and at the World Cup. How did that flow of Africans happen to reach into Europe? Something happened, and it didn't happen by accident. So in 74, them see what we call as Black Africa now come to the World Cup, Zaire. And Zaire get enough beat up. Get almost a 7 or 9 from Scotland. And Scotland on a big European side. But the European football has always been at a certain level. And the Africans would go home and take them licks. But it will create a status, a precedent. And it put another fuel in the consciousness of black youth in Africa. That Africans can get to the World Cup. And we're talking about Africans now, the black Africans. Because those who are at the World Cup today are Northern Africans. And these Northern Africans are not even considered to be Africans by many people because of how the Europeans project them. So Tunisia, Morocco, Senegal, Egypt. These countries are called Northern African countries, and they are close to the Mediterranean Sea, and they're nearer to Europe. And there's a lot of interaction of football players between those countries and the European leagues. And so the football there seems to be a bit different. But when you want to say what I call black man football in Africa, we have to reflect on teams like the Cameroons. And there was a time when those teams were dominant in the World Cup scene, but they have lost it. And I will try to explain quickly how is it we're not seeing any more of those big man African teams. Why is pure young players, particularly in the Nigerian team? Why are there young boys in there and we're not seeing the big man them? So the black man movements now, from the 1970s, the Europeans realize that there's great talent in Africa. And after the 70 World Cup, the World Cup expanded from 16 teams to 24. And as big as Africa is as a continent, Africa only had 1 representative. And Africa has 54 countries now, you know. In today's World Cup, Africa has 5 representatives. Europe starts off with like 14 or 15 teams. So you see the disparity, but there's a justification for that in FIFA's world. Because when you look at Africa now, in the 70s, and football globally, the African nations, Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal, what we call Black Africa, these countries began to show a great amount of power at the world level, at the under 17 and the under 20 level. Yes, the African teams now began to dominate that level of FIFA competitions. But at the senior level, the African nations have a difficulty sustaining that world dominance. And it's a very simple reason. When the players get to the age of 19, 20, etc., there is no professional leagues on the African continent that attracts them the way the leagues are in Europe. So what the Europeans have been doing is have been extracting youthful African talent. And these talents have been brought into the European leagues, but they go into the second and the third division leagues in European countries. So a country like Belgium, countries like France, countries like Italy, Spain, if you look into the lower leagues in those countries, it's flooded with African players. So this becomes now the nursery from which the European clubs now can seek for talent. So these players now will try to work their way up from the third division, up to a first division team, and ultimately land a contract in a big league team, in the Bundesliga, in the EPL, in La Liga, etc., etc. So the African national team doesn't have access to the top class African players. It's a tricky situation because a lot of these players now go into Africa at such a young age that by the time them is big man, they become eligible now to become citizens of those countries. And so the talent now is moved out of Africa into Europe. The national identity is changed. And now all of a sudden we see, even in athletics, we see black players, black runners running for Arabian countries, running for European countries. So the trade or the extraction of resources from the 17th century has not changed. We're just looking at the world of FIFA and how African talent has been drafted into this World Cup level. That if you look at France, France now looks like a black man team. If you look at Belgium, Belgium now have black man at the striker, black man as the sweeper back. Sweden, Switzerland. So the black talent, the dominance of the African is now prominent at the World Cup. Yet, when we look at South America, we don't really see black players in Argentina. The nearest black man come to playing in Argentina is a virgin named Juan Verón. So Argentina, historically, has been a deeply racist country. It is even stated that Hitler escaped from Germany. It's Argentina go and find refuge. So we look into the makeup of certain teams. We look into the Russian team. Very unlikely you'll ever see a black man playing for the Russian team. Years ago, you'd never see a black man in the German team. Now you see what's happening. So it's a mixture of events. It's Africans being brought into these countries at a young age. It is Africans having children with European women and vice versa. But the production is talent. And these talents now has reached a level where even England, even the racist England, who one time wouldn't make black men even play in their leagues, now bowing to the pressure. And we're seeing young black players now surfacing in the English national team. We're seeing the power of the black man in world football at the performance level. But there are other levels. So we need to begin to organize the resources. If we begin to think about the finances, the money side, Who really collects the money? Who's making the merchandise? Can black people get involved in the money making in FIFA's world? Metamorphosis. Yeah, the African teams. The African teams. Every World Cup from 1974, I've been calling the African teams. And this time, I tell you, I'm feeling disappointed. One more team left to play that represent Africa, that is Senegal. The first 4 teams that I've gone through have been disappointing, particularly for me, Nigeria. But I overstand, after watching Nigeria and looking at the makeup of them team, it's really a little boy side. And little boy can't win big man competition. I don't know if the plan is to keep this team together for 2022. But this requires soldiers. And the team doesn't have enough big man to advance the cause. The Tunisians lost a very squeaky match today, but the Moroccans, they lost on a own goal, and the Egyptians, without Mo Salah, is an ordinary team. So out of these 5 teams, I am saying it look like it was Senegal tomorrow will define whether Africa will have a team in the final 16. And of course, one match don't define the outcome. Let me just say that over again, because there are teams, for example, when Spain won the World Cup, they lost the opening match. So that's not a criteria for losing and going home. It just forces teams to change some gears and to step up the battle cry, etc., etc. So Africa is disappointing, and I know after 2018, I have a feeling that I'm not so sure the World Cup will ever reach to Africa. Because the thing is so deeply steeped in science and methodology and experience that it looks as though if you don't play in the European leagues, you really can't win the World Cup. Because the European leagues really are the highest levels of performances required, week in and week out. And once you can manifest that, then at the national level, your team has a better chance. So, the way Africa running now, the players are leaving the continent so young that the teams don't really seem to have a cadre of senior players. So it's like it's focusing mostly on export now. Look at that is going to be the whole essence of African football. Just to export talent into Europe, and these talents try to move themselves to the biggest clubs and try to make the most money for themselves and their families. Because a lot of these African players represent communities when they leave and make a team. And they must make these teams because it doesn't make any sense that they return to the village that they're coming from. So the continuous drain, I think, will make it forever difficult for an African team to get to a World Cup final, meaning final 2. The other confederations, as far as I am concerned, the one that I am in, well, let us start with Asia. Asia have Japan and South Korea as representatives, and the Japanese and their football, Jamaica will remember in 1998 we played the Japanese, and that was the one game we won in 1998. But the Japanese have been to more than one World Cup since then. So they have made vast progression in their football. We have gone in the other direction. And of course, we're going to try and speak as how is it we can change that gear. The South American countries now are the countries that Jamaica tend to gravitate towards, separate from England. And the Brazilians, people couldn't wait for Brazil to take the court, because remember, before the Brazilians take the court, the Germans had fallen to the Mexicans. So the defending champions had gone down. And many people thought now that, well, here's a chance now for the Brazilians to establish themselves as the outright favorite. Well, them stumble. So the Germans falter, the Brazilians stumble. The World Cup is open. It's an open rumble at this moment. But one match don't solve the issue. It means that teams who, like Iran find a victory. And in their group, they are leading the group ahead of Spain and Portugal. So the tournament is exposing some things that people maybe never aware of. That a country like Iceland, with 350,000 people, could play that type of scientific football and hold out a world power to a draw. So there's a lot to observe, and hopefully a country like Jamaica will take the lessons that are being given. So Brazil and Argentina, both of them draw the match, and to most people, those two draws come in like a lose. It's like two of them lose 1-1. Peru, I think, is a very good team. Another what you call an unfortunate loss. But I wouldn't rule them out. because then football is very, very attractive. And Colombia will play tomorrow. So ultimately, the tournament seems to be shaping up nicely after the first set of games. And just keep an eye out on events happening around the pitch. The introduction of the technology, I think, has helped to move the game on. It has created new points of discussion, but it still remains an exciting game. That the brain can be in Moscow, making decisions over matches playing around the country. That is serious technology. So ultimately, we're going to see some confrontations at the religious world and the world of FIFA. Because Iran, for example, is a Muslim country. And Iran, we will go to see what happened in 2026 if Iran was to qualify again. Would they be allowed to enter the United States as a Muslim team? That is down the road. But Iran has squeezed out a victory and now put them in a position where they can actually get to the second round. We have a Jamaican coach learning his craft in Iran. This youngster used to coach at Jamaica College. He is currently the most experienced Jamaican coach on the earth today because of his present activities. And hopefully more of our coaches will leave this confederation and go into those other confederations and begin to learn the science of the game. So ultimately, I think the Asian teams will go home. I think the African teams will go home as well. And the battle will come down to Europe, South America, and Mexico. Because Mexico is not a DB team. As a matter of fact, the CONCACAF region is not a strong region, you know, overall, but it has produced its World Cup teams. Well, I will come into the Caribbean now, which is even a smaller region than the CONCACAF. We have to respect the efforts of the Haitians, because long before Jamaica got to the World Cup, Haiti got there. We have to know this, you know. Haiti was at the 1974 World Cup in Germany. Yeah, Haiti, same poor Haiti, where them say it's the poorest whatever. They have always been advanced in football ahead of Jamaica with less money. So money is a part of the process, but money is not the key. Money is not the key to development of players to a certain standard. The key to that development is the coaching. But Jamaica don't invest in coaches because the culture of that colonial mind is not to build leadership. It's to have people who you can control. So the football in Jamaica now don't have professionalism at the leadership level, because those who have the money want to be managers and they want to be the ones who are calling the shot because they have the money. But they have no professional training or skill. So we see how the thing can be changed if certain attitudes at the level of leadership can change. So the Caribbean people, the Caribbean now have a little region where the Jamaicans are within themselves feeling as though they are the leaders of the Caribbean. But not in football. Because even before Haiti went to the World Cup in '74, Cuba went. Cuba was there in the 1930s. Cuba is a far more advanced sporting society than Jamaica. Long advanced. Cuba has been dominating boxing in the Olympics. Cuba is a dominant culture when it comes to baseball. Because those societies that were socialist and communist recognized the importance of sports as a tool for building society. So Cuba got there before, Haiti got there before, Jamaica got there in 1998 And suddenly we go on like, say, no, we some authority and world football and every World Cup we must be there. It's rubbish that. Don't be fooled by those who happen to materialize a vision under the right climate and times with great fortune. Happens once in a lifetime in that fashion. You have teams at the World Cup who are far superior to us and they only getting there for the second time or maybe the third time. And they have vast investments in programs, in players and coaches and infrastructure. We must stop make those people who lead us into dreams. We want visionaries who can openly and clearly identify the methods that will move from point A to point B to point C. And we need that type of leadership now in our football. So, in the Caribbean region, we have to break down the amateur construct. Or we have to accept that Jamaica will simply be a point to export players. Leon Bailey is a young player who has been exported by his own parents because of the lack of football development in the country. Bailey knows is worth 20 million on the market. So we must change our gear here and bring a different level of awareness to the country and give our youths better opportunities because the economic system is not providing it. The dollar in Jamaica right now, I was talking to the technical director earlier, Jacko. The World Cup going on, everybody paying attention to the World Cup, the dollar reached 132 to 1. Yeah, slipping and sliding, disappearing. And the destruction of sports is another element why those who are Marxists think that sport is a distraction. The Marxists have the view that sports robs the people of their revolutionary spirit. And there's a reality to it. Because it can be like a drug to some people. It can be like opium. Sports takes your consciousness away from the reality. And the reality that I just mentioned now is the economics. Where the Jamaican dollar now is 132 and to 1. But we watch World Cup, so we're not saying nothing. Them said just don't worry, just go and watch the World Cup. Don't worry.
Boy, skip a George.
the football journey of the African player can be a very lonely and tedious journey of the black player, particularly now when they have to go into Europe. It's a brutal journey, you know. Yeah, man. You even ask the local black man in Jamaica just to go to even to North America. Because the first brutality you book up on, you know, is the weather. Yeah, man, you have to play in the ice box. And you have to have will of steel. Now the white man comfortably in the ice box and run up and down, you know. Because him cannot take off his shirt and him go out ice water go bathe. Them have some white man in America called a polar bear. When winter come, them go all Coney Island and go bathe. So for them make up different when it comes to the ice and the cold. It's a black man, it's like going into hell. It's true football in America, I mean, you know, hell is not a place that's hot, you know. Yeah, it's true football and playing football in the ice. That means, you know, so hell is a cold place. Especially for African people, for black people. It's the greatest torture Iman ever got through. When we feel like my marrow freeze. You talk about bone freeze? Your marrow freeze. It's a wicked punishment. And then guess what? You have on shorts. Yeah. So when you see black man run up and down in the league them in Europe, don't feel saying it look a pretty thing, you know. When you see the black man playing in South America and the Caribbean, him alright, you know, because it in a him climate. And we alright. When you see the white man in our heat, him wilting like butter under the sun. No, that is hell. And that's why the white man describe hell as fire. And then put that upon the religious teaching, you know, make we think say hell hot. Hell don't hot. Hell is icy cold for the African skin. Where bone-chilling winds freeze up your limbs. So I said to them, no, when you see black man play ball in them places there, you must have more respect for them. When you don't have your sense of feeling because everything is numb. And you have to use your feeling to play the ball. Because the ball have to touch you. You see how super we become. So the climate now is a wicked factor. And a lot of black men fall down in European attempts at football because they can't manage the weather. There's a little drama about the players, Leon Bailey and his other brethren, Kyle Butler, when they were traveling around Europe trying to make a team. And they had to be running around and only have one set of gears, all kind of hardships. And the drama come where they had to run most about 3 miles, the players them, and something go wrong, and them take off them shirt and run without them shirt for about 3 miles in the cold weather. Anybody see that knows that the youth them insane. And you have to insane now to play professional football. You have to that kind of mud where you put your life on the limb. So don't watch it and go and like say, if it was you, you know, what you would do and what you would do, because I not saw it go. Not saw it go. The pain is real. So not only the climate now you have to adjust to, you have to also adjust to the food. And what the Europeans call food, and what you know as a black man or African as food, is 2 different things. There's a player now right now playing for Belgium. His name is Lukaku. Romelu Lukaku. Lukaku blacker than me. And Lukaku, in his own words, said when he was a young boy and him go to Chelsea, go play, he used to laugh after him. And he used to mock him. Because basically, when he was 11 years old, he was a kind of big youth. So them have him as this big African monster. He said when him just start make him name, and him used to score for Belgium, they must say, Romelu Lukaku, the Belgian striker. He said when him now score a goal, him say Romelu Lukaku, the Belgian striker of Congolese descent. So it's an attitude that the Caucasian have up, where him try to claim you when you produce results that suit him. And when you're off form, him telling you where you come from. Same thing with Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson was running for Canada. And he was the world record holder. And when them fix him up and call him out, them say Ben Johnson of Jamaica. So these are issues that are consistent with sports and black people. And sometimes when we're looking on, we need to overstand, listen to the commentators, listen to what them say. Listen to the racism in them commentary. Look how them talk as if one set of players are superior to the other. When you look how players for Manchester United, them tell them say, can only score against a weak team them. Him can't score against a big side them. So the black player now is under a different pressure. He's under a different psychological pressure not to make mistakes. The white man makes a mistake, them say, okay, do better next time. The black man make a mistake, will he stay on the pitch or will they take him off? So it's these kind of pressures the black man face when he's stepping into FIFA's world and trying to get into the World Cup. And as I said, now look into the European teams. They now need powerful players. And you know where all the powerful people come from. The powerful people are from the continent. And it's just that those who are on the outside now who have been brought out into this wilderness plantation with lots of identities. And we are claiming our national identity. But beyond the national identity, we have to link up at the level of race. The World Cup is going to show us in a little bit a while aspects that are not visible now. If the Russian team fall out of the competition, we will see hooliganism. I am anticipating that once the Russians fall out. Racism will also show its ugly face as the tournament gets on and on, either on the play field or around the play field. There has been one act of terror outside the tournament so far, and the media has played it down, trying not to create excitement. But a man take a car and drive into the crowd and lick down some supporters and some people, and then them come out of the car and try to escape, and them chase him and catch him. They say that it is not terrorist related. I say it is terrorist related because they don't want to upset FIFA's World Cup. But there are a lot of enemies out there that have issues with teams and nations that are there. Remember before the tournament started, Argentina tried to play a game with Israel. And the Palestinians then blocked that through protests. There is more. So we're just going to be observant and watch this world war unfold. In 2014, the issue in South America was Zika. Everybody was afraid that Zika was going to kill off the people in there and we shouldn't go and blah, blah, blah. What are we hearing about this run? It's all been quiet so far. It means that the drama is yet to come off the field. Metamorphosis.
It's like a oven baking for 2,000 years. When the morning comes, I would run to get some tea. Here comes the person with the spot, saying dreadlocks, you don't come here to drink this soup and spot. Oh, General penitentiary. Oh, can help for a person who need a weekly salary. So if your eyes can be fulfilled and satisfied, a lot more to come and feel those chastised. Yeah. General penitentiary. General penitentiary. General penitentiary.
Metamorphosis, zeroing on the world's activities that are centralized now in the world of sport. And you know that football is a recognized global game. As football is just one country come with for them attitude, you know, and try to rename this thing soccer. But football is a terminology that's coming out of Europe. And of course, we know that rugby is one of the games that the British used to play. And rugby, football is like a offspring of rugby. Just that you can't use your hands now, you only use your feet. And then another one of the outstanding games that the English used to represent themselves culturally was cricket. So cricket and football became games that were played almost, let us say, at the grassroots level. Because football was even considered to be a hooligan sport. Yeah, with no behavior amongst the footballers, because they would challenge the authority of the referees, while the cricketers would succumb to the umpires and wouldn't question them. So it's two different characteristics and characters playing these games. So we know about the Americans now and the set of refugees now who left England seeking what them call freedom of religious expression. Some set of men call themselves the Puritans and the founding fathers. These are the guys now who got to North America and started the genocide amongst the Indians and the black people there. So because them coming out of Europe and coming out of England in particular, them also come with the culture of games. So in North America now, when these white men landed and them have these British games, them twist up those games to suit them own culture now in North America. And so they don't play cricket anymore now, them start play baseball. And they wouldn't play rugby anymore or football as we know it, because them started call them gridiron game football, the game with the pigskin, where you run within your hand, but maybe the Englishman would have called rugby. So they are now going against the grain, because the world, which is dominated by FIFA, call the game football. So they decide now that, look, we now call it football. Because we don't define what our game of football is. Pigskin and gridiron. So we just call it soccer because according to the research, the word will come out of the word association. Association, because football was considered to be association football. So them take out the association part and take out soccer. Find the word soccer out of association. So this soccer concept now is an American concept about a game that is global. And America has tried to change up FIFA's game and several times. One time America tried to introduce 4 quarters. Yeah, them tried to widen the goal. Them tried to introduce an offside line near the 30-yard line. All of these things now to appease the American culture for high scores. So a basketball game done 135 to 120. They couldn't take a football game finishing 0-0 and 1-0. So they try to challenge FIFA's rules, and FIFA always back them off. Because FIFA have the strength of over 200 nations. But because of America's attitude, that them is this power, them think them can just invade any institution and organization and take it over. That has not been the case of world football. So America has never been a dominant team in world football. They try to control and dominate the CONCACAF region, and they have done it for a while. But the world football is a different thing. So what America will have to do is get their players now to start playing in Europe. Because I'm telling the item, unless your players have vast European experience, it's difficult to win and to get far in the World Cup, because the World Cup is a European foundation game and the clubs are there ahead and so on and so forth. So America has always been that type of country. But them can't change the rules of FIFA because the game bigger than them. You remember now, America have baseball within their own country and the winner is a world champion. Right? So to the people in America, the world is America. From California to New York, that is the world. But FIFA's world and the world of football is the whole globe. So American concept of a world champion is not the global concept. It's an American thing. They have their view of the world and it don't fit into FIFA's world. So they have to wheel and come again. They now run a league in America called the MLS that is not run along the lines of promotion and relegation. So it's difficult producing real champions, players and teams there, and the Americans are unwilling to adopt the principle of promotion and relegation because their professional culture doesn't work along those lines. So we're going to watch the movements of this international game and see now if the Caribbean and Jamaica ready to make that move to 2026. Can we make it a reality? Can Portland or St. Mary or St. Thomas have players on that World Cup stage? Metamorphosis.
Planning a party, club night out, stage show, a gospel concert, or even a business sales event? Let StylzFM be a part of your promoting tool. Take advantage of our low price promotion packages with commercials, interviews, giveaways, reviews, and much more. We have special offers when you mix and match and bundle your options. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. StylzFM for the most effective way to exploit your marketing dollar.
Architects, draftsmen, and surveyors, get your drawings printed in high-quality professional standards. We can satisfy your printing needs. Whether it is for presentation to your clients or for submitting building and subdivision application, make it VJ Printing Services. Whether drawing by hand or with computer-aided softwares, we will plot your negatives and print the copies as you need. We do high-quality white paper printing that is water-resistant and never fades, unlike traditional blueprint. For more information, call VJ Printing at 893-2266.
For the best quality in sound reinforcement and backlining, Native Audio. We have professional engineers with over 20 years of experience. So call us and we'll take care of your parties, wedding receptions, barbecues, conferences, and small stage shows. Crystal clear sound. Native Audio. Our prices are the best. Call us at 871-5212. That's 871-5212. Native Audio. We make your events audible.
Clifford Guest House, sponsor of Metamorphosis on Monday nights from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight with Dr. Iman Blak. Located at 15 Queen Street, Port Antonio, that's Titchfield Hill. They offer accommodations for up to 1 month. Call them at 285-0610 for more information.
Those who can hear me, I say, do not despair, do not despair, do not despair.
A judgment, a judgment, a judgment, a judgment. I said this world was created in a circle, and true fear man live it in a square. And it a force and I in a triangle.
We love Bushman. The world is built in a square and the man are moving in a circle. Here we go, Bushman, out of center man.
A judgment, a judgment, a judgment, a judgment. I said this world was created in a circle, and true fear man live it in a square. And it a force and I in a triangle, and it seems like some of us no care. But me say hell I go pop down, yeah. Come take a look in at the future. Hell I go pop down, yeah. If mankind no change them good behavior, them a go build more prison, cause the mobs them a go loot. Them a fi build more shot because them soldiers a go shoot. Them nah build no machine, nah no water boat, cause no man no want fi plant, but them want fi reap the fruits. Hell I go pop down, yeah. Come take a look in at the future. Hell I go pop down, yeah. If mankind no change them good behavior, hell I go pop down, yeah. Come take a look in at the future. Hell I go pop down, yeah.
Aye, Bushman, we're going to take a look into the future now, because we don't really want hell pop on, you know. Hell, they are ready. How do we transform the hellish conditions in the future? As much as sports is a distraction, it's also a site of economic and political development. Yes. And within the plantation societies that we live in now, we don't have much resources outside of ourselves. And it's within that perspective now we turn to ourselves. Our level of culture, our cultural performances. And when we talk about culture and performance, we talk about play. Can't get around play, you know. Animals play, birds play, human beings play, man play. Play is a basic part of our makeup. That's why before good sex, you have to have foreplay. You see it? Guys, the highest form of play that, you know. Yeah, that game that we call sex requires foreplay. Otherwise, the game might not be so nice. So we look at play as an outlet now for the future. And we'll talk about sports now and football. The future, as far as sports is concerned, is never next year. The future is always within the context of how international tournaments appear on the calendar. And so within the World Cup, it's every 4 years. Within the Olympics, it's every 4 years. Within World Games, 4 years look like the cycle for things to refresh themselves and come again. Now, this 4 year cycle It's something that you have to consider and realize if it's really possible to achieve anything in that 1-4 cycle, or whether you need 2 cycles. Do you need an 8-year plan to achieve what you really want to achieve? And what we begin to project now in terms of what we're calling future planning, to ease some of the possible distress that the society might face in the future. And rather than building more prisons, we could be building more playfields. We could be building more entertainment arenas rather than to build more prisons. Because the solution to enough of our distress will come in our play. How we organize that energy. So, Jamaica now, sitting back and all our armchair experts at football have now come out. Everybody in Jamaica now is a World Cup expert. Everybody can tell you what formation should be used and should not be used and which coach should have done this before this. And blah, blah, blah. Oh my goodness. If only we could get there and our expertise talking. But unfortunately, it don't work like that. So I ask a question now. We are in 2018. The next World Cup is 2022. And the one beyond that is 2026. If we are going to be realistic in getting to that World Cup stage, I am saying 4 years is not realistic to get there. It is literally impossible, I think, to get there by having a team ready for 2020. It's these short-term type of attempts from 1998 why Jamaica has been falling further and further backwards. Every 4 years from 1998, the country say they're planning for the next World Cup. We even at one time started to train a team while the World Cup was playing. I wonder if you remember that, Cassidy. The last World Cup, while the World Cup was playing, we started, Borrell, the same, started to prepare his World Cup team while the last World Cup was playing. And we found it even worse than the one. In other words, no, that methodology is surety for failure. And we have 20 years of experience of that method failing. So if you practice, if you're trying the same thing over and over, and you make a different result, it means you're insane. That's a sign of insanity, you know. When you do the same thing over and over and expect the result to change. So the method have to switch. Will a day ever come when a man from Portland or St. Thomas run up on the national team and the national team are run up on a World Cup stage? Anybody in Portland never have them kind of visions there, or dreams? Because those things remain strictly dreams, you know. They cannot become visions because unless you can tell me the method, it will not happen. So I'm going to suggest a methodology. How can a man from Portland be on a national team that is also at the World Cup? What a thing, eh? What a thing if a man from St. Thomas would be on the World Cup team when the Jamaican side get there again. All different vibration, but it's just a talk that. Because guess how you have to do it now? First thing you have to do is identify the leadership of this football federation. And we're going to see similarities between the football leadership and the political leadership. And they both lack vision. The political leadership in Jamaica, remember now, you know, the man them get elected for 5 years. So they don't come with a 5-year plan. They come with a 3-year plan. Because them figure say if them don't do enough by 3 years, the people go and vote them out. And if 3 years coming and them look shaky, them call a snap election to give themselves another 5 years. So there's really never any planning beyond 3 years within the Jamaican political structure. And that becomes a part of our culture. We can't plan beyond 3 years. So it also affects the football. Football requires even longer term planning than what the politicians have been using. So we have a project beyond 2022 and realistically look into 2026. What age would you have to be in a World Cup team at 2026? The federation have to work that out. We have to identify those players in the right age group from now Those players are probably in primary school or high school at this time. So all those players should be sorted out from now, with a database and identifying, and these players begin to come together for certain preparation from now. But they would not be preparing for a World Cup. They should be preparing for the tournament that is the second stage of international development, and that is the Olympics. We spend a lot of time getting medals in the Olympics, and we get a lot of glory for being a sprinting country. But we can't get no glory in football, because you have to be consistent the way we are in athletics. So one World Cup appearance is there's no mark of anything. It's a blip. Consistency comes now when you begin to repeat yourself at the Olympic level, constantly appearing at the medals. That is the level that gives the players the foundation to play at the World Cup level. So how about Portland now? How can Portland get into the mix? How can the Eastern Confederation be part of this dream of Jamaica being at the World Cup again? We have to re-examine and revisit Jamaican football from the square one, how it is organized within the confederations. Because remember, FIFA around the world along confederations. We have 4 confederations here. The Northeast, the West, South Central, Kingston and St. Andrew. One of the points I really want to leave this program with, and for the people who are listening and have an interest in Jamaican football, the strongest point in Jamaican football, the strongest confederation, is Kingston and St. Andrew. Kingston and St. Andrew has been the leaders of Jamaican football. There was a time when the national team came from only Kingston and St. Andrew players. There's a time when the national coach only came from Kingston and St. Andrew. And when we look at Kingston and St. Andrew, we're going to slow down a little bit and realize there's not one place we're talking about. Kingston is one place. St. Andrew is another place. Kingston has a capital. St. Andrew have a capital. If each parish was to represent itself in the football competition, Kingston would never be the dominant parish. Neither would St. Andrew in Jamaica. But because they have been combined, 2 states becoming one, that has given them the foundation of their power. So it's always been an imbalance in competition, island-wide, because it's always 2 parishes against one. Kingston and St. Andrew versus Portland. Kingston and St. Andrew versus St. Thomas. Kingston and St. Andrew used to play everybody. So Kingston and St. Andrew would always win. Not necessarily because the best players are there, but because they are the most organized. Of all the 14 parishes, they have now brought themselves into a unity. So I said to the item now, part of the recommendation to upgrade Jamaican football is to upgrade the confederations. And we can upgrade them now if we follow the example of Kingston and St. Andrew by twinning the parishes. So St. Thomas and Portland should be one football association. Hanover and Westmoreland, one football association. Hanover produces the best schoolboy football team rurally in Rossies, but Hanover has no club football. Westmoreland produces Reno, which is a top club football team, but Westmoreland is low in football at the school level. So if we twin the parishes, Kingston and St. Andrew would have competition. Jamaica's football standard would rise island-wide. So we have to tap into our complete nation if we want to contest against other nations at the highest level of football. It's a structural problem we're having. Structural. We have to twin the parishes because the advantage that Kingston and St. Andrew have is because they are not one parish. They are 2 parishes. And so when those 2 parishes have an under-14 competition, when those 2 parishes have an under-16 competition, they're going to get the best talent in the 2 areas. So they will always be dominant. The next dominant parish is St. Catherine, which is right next door, the Kingston and St. Andrew region. They have now produced Portmore as a club champion, and they have now produced Dunby Holden as a Premier League team. Jamaica's Premier League competition now has maybe about 19 from Cassava, 2 from St. Catherine, 1 from Westmoreland. That is not a national league. That cannot draw the resources talent-wise to contest at the World Cup level. That cannot draw the talented resources to contest the Caribbean region. So unless we fix up ourselves at home in a structural way, the dependency on overseas Jamaicans no longer works. We have to have a home foundation, and the structure is here. We have to put our home together, that the best talent will come out of our regions. So if Portland and St. Thomas come together, there's a greater possibility now of a Portland team getting into the Premier League. Likewise, a St. Thomas team. Then the school players will be more focused in advancing them school careers into a club career that can take them to the national level, that can take the national team into the World Cup qualifications. And from the qualifications, can we get to 2026? Can we get there without an Olympic program? Metamorphosis.
Rastafari is a way of life and not a religion. A tradition. Make up your mind. Oh Lord, if you're a King Rastafari, you are hailing at this time. Make up your mind. Rastafari, you be hailing at this time. Nobody might heal Rastafari. Them no mean it from them heart. No, never want to walk, but ever talk the talk. Oh yes, oh they must speak Jah, and never seek Jah. I listen to see the teacher. I and I come fi burn out imposter. Heal Rasta, make up your mind.
No, there was a time in Jamaican football when the Rasta man was a prominent figure. Yes, in the 1970s and the 60s. Rastaman had a dynamic role to play in Jamaican football. That is absolutely absent in 2018. And it's a very important omission, because football is culture. Rastafari is culture. Yet the Jamaican society have a problem with Rastafari culture within the realm of football. FIFA don't have a problem with that, you know. Because we see European nations with players, and we don't know whether them saying Haile Selassie or not, but guess what? Them have them locks. Yeah, we see a lot of European teams, and that's been happening for a good while now, where the players who grow them locks in them national team. A white man I try grow locks in them national team. You see Jamaica plantation now is a wicked act now. Them drop on Rasta youth in Jamaica, you know. Yeah man, them is a queen and her fight the British culture who oppose Selassie soldiers. In the 1970s, you know, when the world recognized the non-aligned movement, and recognized African liberation movements, and recognized black consciousness. Black consciousness penetrate football in Jamaica, you know. You have teams called Ujama, not the one in Portland, in central Kingston. And then there was the most, I don't know if it's famous or infamous, but then there was a house of dreadlocks. Enough people don't even know it's a football side, the names in Jamaica, you know, the House of Dread. And the House of Dread now, when the man them take the field at the stadium ram like it's a national team going play. Like the House of Dread is draw more crowd than all the national team. A team of pure Rastaman, pure dreadlocks. And when I talk, oh no, Dibby man, no, you know, cause Alan Skill Cole, Guto Thompson, some man who youths of today wouldn't know about them man, because most of the man who watch football today start watch football when the reggae boys come on the scene. So as I said earlier, most of our commentators and pundits and experts now only started watch football in 1998, you know. So they don't know nothing about war going in football in the 70s and the 60s and the dynamism behind the game. And how can you be an expert and don't know the history of the thing and able to relate the history to the present? So in the 1970s now, when the culture was black and Africa became central in the consciousness of the people now, the House of Dread rise up as a team. Bona Riley, Alan Skill Cole. And you know, say, them of course rise up in the Kingston region. So they were considered to be a Kasafa team. Because Rastafari, as you know, took a strong root in the carpet area, even though it really had enough of its roots and foundation in the rural sections of Jamaica. But they take a foundation, Bakawal and those places. And because it's a culture, play is also a culture. So enough of the Rasta man used to play ball. And could have played ball very well too. Our most famous reggae artist, Bob was a baller in terms of a juggler and never really a competitive player. Bunny could have played. No Rastaman had the talent to play organized football, but the football in the 70s and 60s, as it is and still remains non-professional. So, because society don't discriminate against man with locks in the normal workplaces and so on, enough Rastaman had to turn to culture and creativity and using them hands and making things. So we started make things, make broom, started make music. And the music became a more organized way to express Rastafari ideology and thinking. The football never provided an outlet, so enough Rastaman left the football and put more of them time into the music. But the society condemned the Rastaman them. Because them saw come with discrimination talk. So the man them don't eat salt. So if them don't eat salt, them can't run long and all sort of things the man them make up on Rastaman, you know. And when the Rastaman play ball, the crowd get excited. Any team with a Rastaman, if I'm touch the ball, the crowd go wild. Yeah, man. Because the crowd expect magic when a Laxman touch the ball. And it create enough bad feelings in the ballhead culture. And when I say ballhead now, I'm not talking about the man who don't trim them here. The man, I talk about the people who oppose Rastafari. So the House of Dread appear in the Kingston and St. Andrew League. And the organizers of the league now, whether consciously or unconsciously, put the House of Dread in the same zone with the police team and the JDF. I mean, I tell you, the match them turn into war. And the man them brutalize the Rastaman them on the football field. And the referee them nah give the Rastaman them no protection. Because that was one way society found that they could attack Rasta. Rasta was already being attacked in the streets. Just for his appearance. And then attack and search. Searching for a seed of weed. The same weed that the same forces that used to attack are colonized now. And I tell you now, say, them into medicinal ganja. And it's a billion-dollar industry. The Rasta pay the price. And there's no reparations. But in the world of sports, the society opposed Rastafari and saw no place for them, even in the world of football. So enough of the community teams would have them Rastaman pan it. But when they reach to the level of national selection, the door shut. And personal experience now as a coach in the school system, I realize now that Rasta youths can't come through the school system because the school system now block youths from coming into school under certain argument. And if a youth enter high school, them tell them some can't grow them locks if them never come in with it. You see that? Yeah, but the other racial groups, the Chinaman can come in with them long hair and the Indian with them long hair, but the Rasta youth, him have to wrap up him head in all kind of cloth and bag. So the discrimination against Rasta must influence the football because the talent now has been turned away. The talented Rastafarian youths who can play football are not encouraged to play football. The coaching also is problematic because the national team will never really draw for a Rastaman as a coach. Because society is under the influence of thinking that if Rastafari becomes so prominent, then all of a sudden everybody going to smoke ganja. And everybody going to start say His Majesty is the Almighty. Well, the ganja smoking going on, whether Rastafari involved or not. Is the Almighty issue now them can't take? Yeah, them afraid no Rastaman come start tell the youth them, say, boy, Selassie is the Almighty, and the Jesus thing start mash up. So, in Jamaica now, when it got to the Reggae Boys in 1998, the Reggae Boys under Burrell and Simawes don't declare already, say them not in a Rastafari. Burrell don't say it long time, the Rasta can't in a for him side. Burrell even said a Rastaman can't coach his women's team. Simawes say, Jesus save. And Rastaman about no Jesus. So there's no room within the Burrell administration for Rastaman. The team now of youths in it who have Rastaman vibrations in them. So guess what them do now? Them wear them red, gold and green armband. And then begin to wear the symbols of Rastafari within the World Cup campaign. And when you look around into the national stadium, you never just see red, black and green. You never just see black, green and gold flag. You see Heights green and gold. And you start see more Heights green and gold flag than Jamaican flag. Because Rastafari really represented the culture of Jamaica globally. But those who rule still oppressing and fighting down Rastafari. So today, there's no Rasta in the program. When Gardner became a millionaire, Rasta, he could come back into the national program with them locks because then nobody couldn't tell him nothing. Bibi was an international player with his own money. So nobody couldn't tell him about whether he have him locks or not. He had him money. So the power of money, culture, religion, all of those things impact on football. And until Jamaica becomes liberated in their attitude towards Rastafari, the football will only go to a certain level because the real talent not surfacing. So you have to address that cultural dysfunction, or we have to address the structural dysfunction that gives Kingston and St. Andrew the superior edge over the rest of the island because it's 2 against 1. Make it even it up. Make it 2 against 2 and raise the standard. Metamorphosis.
Do you have or are you seeking a place to rent, seeking employment or have a job vacancy? Are you selling a car or having a garage sale? Then come see us. Let Styles do the advertising for you and you'll be on your way in no time. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Advertising Style. Advertise with Styles.
For complete auto repairs and services, come to Akon Auto Technology, located at 33 Bumble Crescent, Port Antonio, Jamaica. We offer specialist services in wheel alignment and wheel balancing, brake drum and disc rotary servicing, state-of-the-art ultrasonic cleaning and testing of your fuel injectors. We also stock an assorted range of auto service parts, tires, and motorcraft batteries. If we don't have it, we will source it for you. Call us at 876-715-5205 or email akonautotech16@gmail.com. Akon Auto Technology, beyond the typical auto mechanic shop. Hey, Papa, may I talk to you? You may I talk to. Me nah this year, but every year you make Fan Fusion miss you. It's only $500 for your pre-sold ticket. Wait, cheapness radio. Listen to me. Take this information quickly, cause with the pan radio. Ticket outlets for Fan Fusion are White Hills Pharmacy, West Street, Port Antonio, Taj Pharmacy, Love Lane, Port Antonio, Labe Sports Bar, right in Port Square. Also Trina from the ice cream shop in Hector's River, and Universal Electrical and Plumbing Supplies, One Wharf Road, Morant Bay, St. Thomas, entrance to Pressa Plaza. So place your order now, cause we soon reach we limit. Get your tickets from now. Don't wait till last minute. And for more information, call 518-2399.
Are you sick of living an average life and tired of just getting by? Do you want to take your life to the next level? Learn the secrets of the super successful. Listen to Power in a Half Hour with Coach Mark this and every Wednesday night on StylzFM from 9 to 10 p.m. Learn the habits of the super successful and how to make these habits work for you. Learn to turn your dreams and desires into reality. You can win in the game of life. Let Coach Mark show you how. Every Wednesday night on StylzFM from 9 to 10 p.m.
Clifford Guest House, sponsor of Metamorphosis on Monday nights from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight with Dr. Iman Blak. Located at 15 Queen Street, Port Antonio, that's Titchfield Hill. They offer accommodations for up to 1 month. Call them at 285-0610 for more information.
Fire operates, burn down Babylon and all them crooked ways and racial discrimination, discommunication, brutalization. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Rastafari, sit upon his throne now. Rastafari, sit upon his throne, yeah. Rastafari, sit upon his throne now, telling us to come home. Hot a fire blaze, fire blaze, fire blaze, fire burn down wicked Babylon.
Yeah, Metamorphosis coming on into the final 20 minutes of the program. Most of the discussion has been around sports and African movements and the isms and schisms that surround games and play. But you know, there are those who think that sports is just really a major distraction. It's something that, as I was saying earlier, robs revolutionary people of their will to challenge the status quo. Saps your energy, and at the end of the night or the day, nothing really changes. So, is that really so? Can any change really be generated for the cause of the black people through sports? Or do we recognize that sports is sapping our energies and our time, and we begin to channel our energies into activities that are more liberating? Well, I would say from my perspective that a lot of exploitation occurs in the world of sports. Exploitation of labor. And when we talk about exploitation of labor, as African people, we must remember now that I and I have been under that sort of umbrella or under that order for the last couple of 100 years, where I and I have been exploited time and labor and energy. Well, sports have a way to absorb nearly all of your time, especially when you're a performer. You become fully engaged in sport and it becomes the center of your life. You almost have to become what we call obsessed, because performance becomes the key. But you have to stop a little bit and think sometime, you know, because recreation is an important thing to release stress. That's one of the key importance of play. So whether you play music, or you play words, or you play with paint, playing is a good release of stress. But there's also too much play, because there's a time when we must move from idle play to serious play. And serious play now could also be viewed as work. So one man's work could be another man's play, because what one man does as a recreation, the next man does as a profession. When we talk about liberation now as African people who are involved in sports, we have to try and make the transition from performers to activists. So we have to use the stage, that international stage of performing, to articulate our political positions. So we shouldn't be just there performing and taking cheers. We should be organizing our political statements. So we have issues with problems in our country. We have issues globally. Those of us who become international performers must take up these issues and say them to the world. His Imperial Majesty, Haile Selassie, had to take himself to the United Nations to tell the world what was going on both in his country and what would happen in a time to come if certain things were not addressed. We want our sportsmen to begin to become political ambassadors for the black cause. We see in the United States, the NBA players, in resisting the racist Trump, are subconsciously organizing. We see where players from the Golden State team and the players from the Cleveland team, intense rivals, but they are now coming together under one point of unity. The unity against the racist regime in America. Because America is now governed by a racist regime. We used to apply that term just to South Africa and other places where it was obvious. Now it is obvious in America. And so the sportsmen and the women must now look at Muhammad Ali's tradition, look at Colin Kaepernick's tradition, and begin to move along the line of politics now. Begin to make political statements and declarations. Because we have to use this platform of sports to impress the world as to what we are demanding. And we can't make the requests on that level. We must begin to make our demands. So the world of cricket, it was through organization of the black nations that helped to shake up apartheid. Apartheid has never ended, you know. So we're not into that illusion that apartheid ended and Nelson Mandela was released. What was released was the South Africans' ability to play sports. Because the boycott had frustrated South Africa's ability to play international sport. Them couldn't play no more World Cup in cricket or football or nothing. And in order to play, because I tell you, playing is essential. It was not enough for South Africa to play amongst themselves in their own country. They needed that international competition. And so the boycott by the cricket world forced South Africa to make some adjustments. Well, when the black people realize that we have the power to boycott as well, and we can boycott the sports, we can force changes and demonstrate a level of autonomy, because we lack political autonomy. We have sporting performance. So even a place like Jamaica, our sports persons must begin to speak on behalf of the black population and make strong political statements, especially when they're on the international stage. You can't be afraid of what the government will say, because the government never has any interest in the black people in general. That's why the black American black athletes went to the Olympics and raised them fists and demand black power. That the whole world know. Say, we're not satisfied with running around and kicking ball and jumping over hurdles. We want some changes at this local level. So we have to use what we have. And at the same time, we have to begin to encourage our youth that our genius doesn't rest only in sport. We have to begin to encourage our youth to become genius at science again. Genius at mathematics. Not just at the football language, but at the chemistry and physics. And begin to express our dominance and our potential in those areas. So I'm not satisfied with us watching football and cricket and athletics and running up and down. Because the industrial sporting world is non-stop. One season of one sport leads into the season of another sport. And it goes right around the clock. 12 months per year. We can't afford to be just the performers on that circuit. Make us stop a little bit and pause. And if we have to stop playing, we have to stop playing. And put our house together. We have to think about economic power. Manufacturing. Why we can't be manufacturing the gears them that some of these teams have to buy? Why we can't be producing stuff that is sold at the World Cups? We have to think economically. How can we bid as well as those who are hosting and putting on these tournaments? Yeah, Metamorphosis. Day 5 of the World Cup. 64 matches. Another 3 weeks to go. Enough more things to unfold. Want them pay attention to what's happening beyond the goalposts. Metamorphosis.
Evil on my left, I'll stand up and fight. Oh yeah now, Sadama-Sagana, let you be praised in a positive way. Sadama-Sagana, let you be praised in a positive way. I've got to pray to Jah to have some.
So on the WhatsApp now, Brother Larry from Connecticut, him saying Peter Touch take enough beating for the herb. Whole heap of herb. Black man, Rasta man get punished for. Toots go to jail for herb. The man them kill we out. You know that even right now, you know, them are crucify Donald Trump and the American administration for separating children from their parents at the border. You know how many children were separated from their parents when they put the Rasta man in a prison for ganja? You know how many children got separated from them father. And it was no big deal to the society because his Rasta was being persecuted. Nothing has changed much, you know. It's just through Bob Marley do some money and they realize a Rasta can make money, them kind of ease off, you know. But the disrespect is still there because at the fundamental level, Rasta man still say His Majesty. And the rest of the society I say Jesus. And as long as that maintains, Rasta man will always be oppressed in this island. And when him leave the island, he's glorified because he's seen as a source of liberation and resistance. But upon the island, it's still mockery, still jeering. That the sporting teams across the island, we can count on one hand with finger leave overs. You know, the cricket, the football, the basketball, all of the massive team sport, them athletics, we don't see nobody, as far as I can see, who have them locks and feel free in a Jamaica. So, yeah, the punishment, still I feel it. Still I feel it. And we are go through. Rastafari still live.
I've got to pray to Jah to have some mercy.
I tell you, the whole argument about Rastaman can't play football because when him sweat, him lose him salt and him don't eat salt. You ever hear anything like that? All them thing was concocted to stop Rastaman from playing sports in Jamaica, you know. Because Rastaman is just a symbol. You hear enough man talk about them is Rasta in them art. Them is African centered. But them don't feel the oppression because Babylon and Rome don't see them locks. And you have those now who say them a Ras as a style of hair because them trying to hide behind the movement. But burn out all them kind of characters they know, you know. But burn out them characters there because it's them characters that know make Rastafari struggling on the island. So, I don't know if we ever see Rastaman in the sports of Jamaica. Not even that. Not even that. Because those who are the governance now, them are bring them class issues now into Jamaican sports. They're bringing them classism and them discrimination because them claim that they are the sponsors. So you must put your shirt in your pants now and you must trim your face and you must fix up your hair and you must do this and you must do that. Otherwise, we're not sponsoring your competition. And that's where it reach. So, me know what it is. As a coach, trying at Rastafari, me feel the wrath. Club level, school level. And when the success come, they try to move you out of the way and slip in a man who look like them. But I wonder, you know, the Jesus of the Bible, Jesus of Nazareth was a Nazarene. Jesus of Nazareth grew him locks because he was a Nazarene. And the Nazarene vow tell you say no razor must go up on top of your head. And when the Rasta man decided to grow his locks in the image of Jesus, them hold him down and cut off him locks and beat him and send him to prison. Yet the Christians shave them here, cut them head and a bald head. And yet them image, the image of them leader is a locks man. What a confliction. What a confliction.
Wonder why them no teach Marcus Garvey in a school. Say they want the youth there turning a fools.
The team in Ghana, you know, the Ghana national team is called the Black Star. In honor of Marcus Garvey's phenomenal vision and construction and organization and establishment of the Black Star liner. Garvey recognized for his blackness in Ghana and blackness still getting a fight in Jamaica. Tragedy.
Teach Marcus Garvey to the youth them again.
to the youth them again.
Self-reliance, highest level of expression of the self. And at the World Cup, we see the highest level of organization. All the players there basically are confident, because self-confidence is what you need. All these principles are applied in life. Garvey Foundation teaches us about our blackness, but Jamaican society is in denial. Jamaican society denial is blackness, is denying Rastafari. So must be a sport like football will always struggle, because that sport draws upon the base and the mass of the society, and the mass saying Black and Africa. That's the way it have to be. Otherwise, we're not going to see the top again. Iman says so.
To our enemies and friends.
The pressures of a life and it tough. No stay down, mama, time pick it up. No bother with the down, full style, strictly up, full vibes. I pick it up when the bills, them, the rent and the mortgage due. Yeah, yeah. When me chalice, when your best friends are gone and it's only you. Yeah. Like a past split, turn up the music. Skanking sweet. Everybody wanna feel like free. Forget your troubles and the
So Novelet from Victoria, BC, Canada is asking, who is going to apologize to the Rasta? Who will apologize to Rastafari for call with teeth and stink and dirty head and all them things there? And ganja smoking, dirty stinking Rasta. And all of a sudden now the ganja smoke is, and the ganja plant is now being cornered by those who used to oppress Rasta. How can we overcome this type of injustice and talk about a just society, a Christian society? If that is what a Christian society is, then it's obvious that Christianity is all about oppression. It's all about oppressing black people and black consciousness and African-centered thoughts. If this is a Christian society and Rasta has been brutalized from the 30s with no compensation, and you talk about justice and equality, Peter Touch sing it until him blew and then beat him until him broke him up. And now them having celebrations and Peter Touch this. Hypocrites. But hypocrisy is glorified in them, because those who dominate call it diplomacy. Hypocrites. And there's two things Rastafari know. And when you grow your locks, I'm going to tell you this for those who don't know. Anytime you grow your antennas as a Rastafari, you begin to see clearer. And there are two kind of people you see in the world. You begin to see the hypocrites, and you begin to see those who are parasites. It's the first clarity of vision when you begin to grow your antennas. You see hypocrites, and you see parasites, and you begin to see them from even a distance. And when if you're deep enough and in touch with yourself, you can see them around a corner. May I tell you? Metamorphosis.
You know, feel a reggae music sweet. So skanking, grooving, forget skanking, skanking, feel a reggae grooving. Yeah, body skanking sweet. Everybody was skanking sweet. Body skanking sweet. Body skanking sweet. Yeah. I'm gonna be skanking. I wanna be skanking. I'm gonna be skanking. I'm gonna be skanking. Whoa. Yo. never sweet like a chocolate vanilla. Chain line me born, me na born in a villa. Little monkey watch how you attack the gorilla car. She government by arms.
I want them who listening and pay attention and following up the movement of the hemp. Next program I want to get more specifically now into the movement of the hemp movement. How do I build that movement in Portland? Hemp liberation movement, an economic movement that talks about how to set up factories for manufacturing, how to harness hemp. Because them not helping with that, you know, them control the smoking ganja thing because them see money in the manufacturing of these medicinal drugs. I man see money in manufacturing goods out of hemp. Leave the ganja and the smoking. You see the whole of it, just if you left them alone with the ganja, them can't do nothing with it, you know. Leave them alone, make them do the whole farming and do them own thing. And make we concentrate on hemp and small factories that make paper and oil and butter and left them alone. Leave them alone. But you see, enough of we hooked on the smoking. That is the problem, you know. Enough of we hooked on the smoking and celebrating the smoking more than recognizing the liberation through the manufacturing of hemp. But we use the opportunity to make ourselves into manufacturers. Not farmers and smokers. Manufacturers. Right here in Portland. And the campaign is on. StylzFM midnite. A brethren Ansar who link me. Soon link you for my brethren. Want to build a small network of like minds who want to move hemp from talk to factory and make paper, make some cloth so we can make some school uniform. We can break the poverty not by exporting necessarily, but by creating stuff that we have to use our money to buy. Yeah, if we can make what we have to buy, we would save our resources. Tourism only care about the foreign exchange running away because that's how they benefit. And the more it runs away, the more we suffer. There's 132 now, it's going to be 140 shortly, and the price of sugar and butter and rice will move, and the suffering we bring in on ourselves, and more violence. We must solve our issues not through governance, but through our own intelligence. Hemp is the way out of this mess. Metamorphosis, Dr. Iman Blak, your host.
Guiding I eternally. Guide I. It's the voice that sets me free. Guide I. Whispering inside of me.
And I'm inviting my listeners to come on my Facebook page next 3 days, where I'll give you my World Cup reports. So that's at Doc Iman Blak on Facebook Live.